All right, so this has to be the craziest title I've ever seen in my entire lifetime, so of course we're going to have to do this. By the way, for those that don't know, AI and Devin fear caused by Agile and Scrum failures. I mean, first off, all my homies hate Agile, okay? So I'm loving this already.
My name's Carl, and today we're going to talk about Devin again. We're not going to talk about, is Devin a software engineer? I did that video. The problem we're going to talk about today is...
I didn't see the video on is Devin a software engineer, but I will say that all the people that work on Devin, I forget the name of the company that does Devin, they all have human software engineer in their title. And honestly, like nothing's ever made me want to, like, you know, the Batman meme? Like I just want to slap him. You know what I mean? Like, you are just software engineer. Just shut up. You know what I mean? Dude, it's bad. It's real bad. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that, okay?
Given that no one would consider for a second the idea that this asphalt paving machine was a civil engineer, why do so many people think so little of software engineering that they would believe that?
Okay, first off, I got in there. Look at me. I got in on it. Let's go. By the way, if you did watch my video on Devin, I am personally not impressed by Devin, okay? So for those that don't know, I don't think Devin's a software engineer. Let's go. We got mentioned. We got the free publicity, boys. We got it.
Devin was a software engineer. The answer, as you probably saw in the thumbnail, is Agile. But how we got there, that's the interesting part. So the story starts, as most of mine do, back in the 1990s. Back then, software projects were a new thing. People only knew one good way to manage projects, and that was a Gantt chart. And this is a Gantt chart. It doesn't work great for software.
By the way, I started programming like late 90s and then was in college in like mid 2000s. So I've never even heard of a Gantt chart. Okay, this looks like waterfall. By the way, waterfall, like, can we all be real for one quick second? Agile is just waterfall. Okay, Agile is just you're taking a kayak down a waterfall. So you can try to adjust courses, but let's just face it, it's all waterfall. Okay, it's all waterfall in the end. They're mini waterfalls because here's most of Agile is that you do the same shit for like 3 months. And because you're Agile, it means that the product manager can then pivot you. So you're in this ever repeating cycle of never actually finishing anything and getting emotionally wrung out and eventually leading to dark places like burnout. Like that's like the power of Agile. Like if I could describe Agile in a couple sentences, that would be it. Agile just means you can throw stuff away without forcing a group suicide. Yes, you can do it without forced suicide, but you also get you get these slow inevitable burn of group suicide due to the fact that it's just like, man, it just repeats. And then all of a sudden you're getting somewhere, things are actually looking like you're going to do something. And then they're just like, why? I mean, we're Agile. Let's just pivot a little bit. And then bam, hate my life. I'm literally getting in trouble right now because my project has no testable pieces for QA until the project is done. And they're yelling about Agile and testing. I hate Agile. I hate Agile. Okay.
There are all of these dates and durations and things, and with software, it's really hard to estimate how long something is going to take 3 months from now when you don't even know things that are going to happen between now and then. You can manage projects with this, and I have, but it's not a really good fit.
Agreed.
In the late 90s, we got this alternative called XP, Extreme Programming.
There's something kind of hilarious about the title of Extreme Programming, A Gentle Introduction. Like, why is anything that is extreme, how could you ever have a gentle introduction into it? Like, there should be no gentle, extremely ungentle introduction into extremely gentle.
And it differentiated itself from the Gantt chart stuff, which they retroactively renamed Waterfall as being, more flexible. And it was certainly more flexible, and that was a good thing. Here are the rules for extreme programming. You may have never heard of extreme programming, but if you look at some of these rules, they'll seem familiar from what you've actually been doing lately. These iterations and small releases became sprints. Iteration planning became sprint planning. Oh, look, the stand-up meeting. Joy.
Yo, I hate stand-up meetings. I think we should make our own version, and we're going to call it radical programming, okay? Can I just take a step back here? I'm going to say something that some of you are going to have feelings hurt afterwards. In fact, I'm going to not only just do that, I'm going to do it on Twitter. Maximum casualties. I don't like working with people that like stand-ups. There, set it. Post it. Let's go. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? Okay. You know what I just said right there? You know what I just said? I went in. I don't want to work with people that want more meetings. Okay. I want people that are being like, this meeting better be an email or the most productive thing I've ever had, because we're not wasting time around here. Okay. I don't want any of that. I don't want none of it. Context, though? Dude, this is Twitter. There's no context on Twitter. Okay, if you want context and you want discussion, don't go on Twitter. Twitter is useful for only two things: platitudes that are completely worthless and Vim versus the world arguments. There's like nothing else, okay? There's nothing else. And if you think there should be something else, you're wrong. Also, pussy in the bio. All right, now... I didn't think I was saying pussy in the bio today, but here we are. Here we are.
But a lot of stuff didn't last. Back then, we had release planning and a release schedule. What a concept. Pair program.
To be fair with this kind of stuff, especially since this was like early 2000s, there's still like the majority of stuff being created was being created in like C++ land / Java GUIs. Right? Like they're actually shipping out hard products. They're not doing the internets. You know what I mean? And so like internets, the idea of release planning and a release schedule doesn't make a lot of sense. You know what I mean? It just doesn't, because there's not like some definite date. It's not like, hey, we need to drop our product on people's desktop and we don't have a chance to update it very easily, so we better get this one thing right. You know, like that's a much different feel back then than with the internet. The internet's like, I don't know, we might get it right today, and if we don't, I don't care.
Programming turned out to be not very popular, and we stopped having as much emphasis on testing as we probably should.
By the way, code the unit test first. Extreme programming birthed TDD. Those sons of bitches. Those sons of bitches were the ones that did this, didn't they? Use collective ownership. Is that communism mentioned? Did we just get communism and TDD? TDD is communism? Is that what I'm hearing right now? Nobody does TDD, correct? Is that what I'm hearing right here, right now? I think I am. I think I actually am.
Unfortunately for XP, in 2001, we got Windows XP. So
yeah, that
branding wasn't going to stick. So not long after we got Windows XP, we got the Agile Manifesto.
Generally, you should never... why manifesto? Whenever I hear the word manifesto, I just assume whatever I'm about to read is going to be unhinged. Can we just all agree that somehow that word manifesto, at least in my head, contains like Unabomber vibes, okay? Serial killer vibes. Yeah, it's just, I've never, like, maybe I don't understand what a manifesto is. Maybe I have like a wrong definition on it. But it seems terrible almost every single time I've ever heard it. We gave up on Agile when we realized we are more agile without Agile. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mortal Kombat, nice.
And it came out, it was more fuzzy than the XP rules. We got these 4 values here.
By the way, I've completely forgot that this is a video about Devin, and I'm just completely triggered about Agile development and stand-ups and all this. I'm not even sure how we got here, but however this is going to link everything we're talking about to Devin, I just cannot wait. I'm super excited. I'm super excited. I've completely forgot that this was an AI video. Let's go. Let's go.
We deprecated processes, documentation, contracts, and plans, which I guess at the time seemed like a good way to distance this methodology from waterfall.
Okay.
But I think this planted the seeds that grew into our current problem.
Yep.
And the year after that, we got the Scrum Alliance, and it was way less fuzzy. It narrowed things down to what it called rituals and ceremonies. There were either 4 or...
This document single-handedly has probably created more pain in anyone's life than anything else. Okay. Cult, just ceremonies. We just have a couple ceremonies. That's all we're doing. It's not a big deal. All I need is for you to bring a little bit of goat's blood. It's not a big deal.
5 of them, depending on whether you count the sprint itself as being a ritual or a ceremony. I don't know exactly why they did this. I don't know exactly what they were thinking or why this happened. What I do know...
Java is the answer. Java put the ultimate spin on programming, because there was a while there where we thought you could actually engineer to a craft programming. Java? Yeah. True. It's true, though. There was a time there when Java first came out that there's this idea that like we could actually take computer science from a science into a hard into an engineering discipline, and that there could be like actual methodologies to building stuff. And like, to be fair, it was semi-true. Like, you can't, if everybody does the same thing and knows all the patterns, you can build software together and any person is like replaceable, like an engineer. But you also need to edit like 50 files to add a little bit more JSON to an endpoint. So it's like, what's the trade-off here? To have completely replaceable engineers that have to program the world's worst spaghetti code ever, but because there's patterns, it actually kind of makes sense when you really think about it? Or just get in there and mess some shit up, right? We have 3,417 SCSS files. That's crazy. Wait, hold on, no. Please tell me is this true? If this is true, hold on, Jeremy. Jeremy, did I see that correctly? Jeremy, can you please tell me if this is true? And if this is true, can you please tell me it's one like class per file? Just shit talking. Damn, son. I would have been so happy. Not true. I've seen it, but not currently. Okay, well, damn. What a letdown, Jeremy. Way to let everybody down in chat. Now, can we get back to the AI chat?
Is that being a project manager, if you can keep the customer focused on one sprint at a time and 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And not look at the big project plan and not look at the whole calendar, it's a lot easier to keep the customer from asking questions like, weren't we supposed to have been done by now? And how much longer is this going to take? And wow, isn't this costing a lot? It makes it a lot easier to stretch jobs out, which I can say I have seen a lot of unscrupulous development shops take advantage of that. One just this morning. But the relationship between Scrum and consulting projects deserves its own video. So I'll be worrying about that later.
I do want to give a fair one on that one, which is that Scrum naturally tries to reach into consulting because consulting is like a hard deadline activity. And Scrum makes this unfounded promise that you can actually, do the thing and measure it out and make consistent progress towards a goal. The only problem with Scrum is that it doesn't take into account that people work on the product. Oh, does that mean is this where we're going?
So what do you think about when you think about an engineer? If you're like most people, you think about engineering drawings and the important thing about engineering not being so much the output of the engineer, but the decisions and the thoughts that went into doing that.
This man is using entirely too much circle-y device, in which I've currently forgot its name. Okay, and he's actually making circles on a blueprint that already has a circle. I don't know what this guy's doing. Okay, something about this is just a protractor, isn't it? No, it's not a compass. It's a protractor, isn't it? You ape. Y'all, we did. Okay, that's it. We're having a stand-up. Everybody, get in line. We're doing a stand-up.
And we don't do that because we don't really do documentation. And I get it because documentation is boring. And nobody wants to do documentation.
Facts.
But in this case, an LLM might actually help us. It's quite possible we're going to be able to get the large language models to help us do a better job of documentation with less effort.
Doubt.
But we need to do something because if we want to be taken seriously as a profession, we need to grow up. This is, on the left, the example deliverables from an engineer that I got off a website. You can see the link down in the description. And on the right, we've got the manifesto for Agile software development. What you see on the left, if you look at it for a sec, is that a bunch of that stuff that an engineer thinks is important is explicitly deprioritized in Agile. There's, just a lot of stuff here that we've explicitly just deprioritized and made people think not so much that we don't do, but these are not things that people associate with software projects.
Working software over comprehensive documentation. Okay. Maybe the Agile Manifesto wasn't all bad. Okay. Maybe it wasn't completely wrong.
So what are we left with? What are our deliverables? Well, we stand in a circle. We take tickets.
Dang it. Okay, hold on. Vocabulary. A protractor. Ah, shoot. Damn, I'm way off. Okay. You're right. Y'all right. I'm wrong.
We bang out some code. We check off the tickets. We stand in a circle. We answer the same 3 questions day after day after day. We take tickets.
Yesterday.
You get the idea?
My goodness.
Every once in a while, we'll have a demo meeting. And then we'll have a calm and rational sprint retrospective. Then we have a planning meeting where we try to fit a bunch of t-shirt size stuff into a blatantly arbitrarily sized bucket with the fewest amount of things hanging out.
Whoa! What kind of crazy pieces are these? And by the way, if you designed this by accident and had this as your last piece, tell me this is not just like the most satisfying thing ever. This guy is onto something here. He's cooking, okay? I actually think that we're going somewhere. Okay, we're going somewhere.
And then we go back to standing in a circle again. I am so going to get canceled. Oh, well. So given that, is it really so surprising that so many people think that the job of a software engineer can get done by a fancy auto-completing stochastic parrot? So what do we do about it? Well, I don't have a magic wand. I do have a bunch of ideas. We'll be talking a lot more about them in future videos.
Okay.
But I think that software development is going to need to change. And the way that we do things is going to need to change, both to take advantage of LLMs, but also to survive them. But regardless of what we do, it's going to take us a long time to dig out of this public perception. But it starts with making a distinction between the structural work and banging out and checking in features and bugs fixes. Think about whether or not the time you're spending has long-term benefits to the project, or if it's just yet more inexhaustible backlog churn. Because Devin is coming for your backlog, and I think that's great, because I hate grinding the backlog. If that's all you do, grinding the backlog is your job, then Devin will be coming for you too. And that's not a place you want to be. So for now, best of luck to you. Let's be careful out there.
Damn, that was good. I liked it. I'm liking it. I'm hitting that subscribe. Check. Hey, go like that video. Go like the video. That was great. That was fantastic. Ain't no way. Okay, so obviously that last part with like if all your job is grinding the backlog, Devin's coming for you. In some sense, he's correct. In some sense, he's obviously not correct. In the sense that your backlog's filled with bugs and various things and new features and ideas and all that kind of stuff. You know, backlogs are filled with the whole kitchen sink. And so this idea that Devin can actually do any of that stuff, I don't buy it. Like, honestly, I don't buy most of that, in the sense that I just don't think this iteration of AI, I don't think is sophisticated enough to make meaningful changes that aren't just a huge pain in the ass 99% of the time. We've already seen how well LLMs are reporting bugs in curl. Exactly. Like, we've already seen this, and it was awful. It was actually genuinely awful. For those that don't know it, there's a video, I forgot what I call it. It's like our horrible future in open source. And it was just terrible what they're doing. They're just literally churning out development hours into fake investigations. It's a worthless waste of time. And so I'm not, the I in LLM stands for intelligence. Yeah, I actually fully agree with that statement. And so I think people just have this really odd view that this is what I think it is that the first time you used an LLM, right? Because they're pretty new. And the first time we did it, it was incredible, right? Like you saw it, you did it. The first time you opened it up, tried it out, and it gave you like Burt Reynolds riding a horse on Dolly, and you're just like, damn, man, this is incredible. I can't believe it just generated that, right? And you were shook, right? And then you tried like some code, and you're like, yo, write me a Python function to graph X and Y. And then it did it, and you're like, damn. This is so cool. This is going to take over the world. But when you try it in practice, like in real stuff, LLMs are the same as every new thing. When it works, it's amazing. When it fails, it kills kittens in a fire. Yeah, this is exactly what happens. Do you want to kill? Do you want to kill kittens in a fire? Do you? I don't think so. Anyways, for all those that are still worried, I know there's a lot of people that watch my channel. I get questions like every single day, like, oh, should I even learn computer science? Oh my gosh, should I even go into software engineering? Oh my goodness, should any of these things happen? Here's my thing to you. That code bases, okay, Code bases survive because there's one engineer that has the foresight to be able to write code that's at like the 90th, the 90th through the 90th percentile of skill and ability. Okay, this one engineer puts a bunch of stuff on Rails, then quits because he's like, "Peace out. I got better money somewhere else." Leaves, and then a bunch of the people that are remaining just take this and keep running with it until it just absolutely goes off the rails, and then things do not work any longer, right? Like, this is just software engineering 101. If you don't think this is the case, wait until you find out and wait till you do it. LLMs is like being able to take code that's generated right out of the median, right? And so you're not getting your software developed by this person and putting the rails on here. You're actually getting the software and putting the railing on by this person, which means that your expected lifetime on your software is going to be like this. You're going to be like, "Oh yeah, it's working," and boom, it's going to suck. It's just going to suck. Whereas the other one, it still crashes and burns. Like, this guy didn't have all the foresight in the world. It's going to go, and then maybe it crashes and burns. But, man, that distance right here, this is the difference between your startup making it and your startup not making it, okay? Learn to code. Take your time. Become good. The best way to learn how to code is to create crappy projects. That's it. It's that easy. Create a project, scale it until it completely fails. Create another project, scale it until it fails. You need to do that like 15 times, because then you see, I can write code such that it will work for a while. Maybe it works, like, maybe you could write code that is right for like 6 months. If you could write code that's right for 6 months, that is incredible. Like, honestly, that's incredible. That means you had enough foresight not to over abstract, write the right interface, and it just works. Like, that's good. That means you're improving. If you think you can write code that will never need to be rewritten, you're writing quicksort, or you're deluded. Like, that's it. Sorry. Hate to break it to you. The name is the Primeagen.